Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always, and it's a cool, cloudy day in St. Louis, Missouri today. Hope it's wonderful wherever you are in the world. And today we're going to continue with the book I wrote, The Power is Within. And yes, it is. It's within you and me. It's within everything. Everything is energy. Everything is moving. Even that rock out there in your yard is energy. It has a consciousness. Not like yours, of course, but it has one. Although I'm sure you know some people that you think they have a consciousness like a rock. But that's another video. Everyone is where they are at their certain stage of enlightenment. No one is better or worse than anyone else. We are all growing and developing at a certain rate. At one time, we may have been like a rock ourselves. So try not to judge those people who you think are crazy drivers or doing stupid things. Because one time in your existence, you may have been doing stupid things too. Or you may do stupid things in the future. Or in your next existence, so to speak. Anyway, let's continue. We are on location 49 in the ebook of The Power is Within. Smash that like button and subscribe. And we got a surprise coming up for you in the next week or two. I'm going to have a different format. We're going to continue to do this, but I'm going to have something that I know you're going to like. Okay. Stay tuned. Perfection, enlightenment, transcendence. These are all just perceptions of the person doing the perceiving. Your whole life is a perception. How do you perceive your life? Boring, glum, disastrous, disheartening, discouraging, or wonderful, beautiful? Do you rise every day looking forward to the wonderful things that are going to happen to you today? I know that sounds Pollyanna, but it depends how you look at it. How is your perception? What is your perception of your life? The good news is you can change it to whatever you want, but it doesn't happen overnight. As I say, it's like going to the gym. You don't go there and work out one time and, hey, I'm like Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, it takes weeks, months, years sometimes to achieve what you desire to achieve, to change your consciousness. You didn't become who you are overnight. You became who you are by years of programming which you allowed to come into your mind, some of which you got when you were younger and you had no control over. But now you do have control over what you allow into your mind. Junk in, junk out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. Okay. Perceiving. That's you and me and everyone else. Judging, assessing, calculating, and rationalizing everything we see and hear. Everything gets filtered through the lens of our perception. Even Joe, the alcoholic we were talking about yesterday, in the beginning of the book. That lens is something we begin acquiring just after the moment we are born. The experts tell us that we have only two fears when we are born. The fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. That's what the experts say. Everything else, our dislikes, our prejudices, the things that make us cringe or recoil, these all have to be learned. We learn it from our parents, our religions, or the lack thereof, our governments, the media, television, movies, billboards, everything we are ever exposed to. If you consumed it consciously, the amount of information you are bombarded with on a daily basis would make your head spin. Fortunately and unfortunately, we have something called lacunas. The ability to block and blind ourselves from information that doesn't carry us toward our goals. The subconscious mind takes it all in, everything, but only gives the conscious mind access to the things it finds important. Every sight, sound, feeling, smell, taste is all taken in and simultaneously paused, evaluated, and sorted into important or non-important, and then sent on their way. Your subconscious mind does all this without you ever knowing it. The same way it regulates your blood rate, your temperature, your breathing, your chemical balances, and everything else your body needs to function. Who does all that? Think about that. Do you have to get up in the morning and think, well, thank God I made myself breathe last night. If I hadn't have, I'd be dead today. Or did you have to regulate the amount of nutrients that went to certain parts of your body? Did you direct the blood flow? Did you watch that blood pressure consciously and make sure it didn't get too high or too low? No, that was all done without you consciously thinking about it. And most of the actions during the day that you do are done subconsciously before you ever think about it. Think about driving a car. When you first drove a car, man, it was tough. You had to think about everything. Let me see. Okay, put my seatbelt on, make sure the car's in park, turn on the ignition, okay, put my foot on the brake. I can't even think about all the things you have to do. But when I get in the car, I automatically do it. That's because I program my subconscious mind, just like you, to do these things automatically. Now we can drive, talk, play with our phone. Well, that's kind of dangerous, but people have accidents doing that. But we can do all kinds of things while we are driving now. As where at first we had to really think about everything. But once the subconscious mind is programmed, you don't have to think about it. You get into what they call the flow. Okay. Meanwhile, you run through your life with the small part of your mind, the conscious mind, the 2+2 mind. That's what I call it, the small I. Then you have the big I that really runs your life. Although you may think you're running your life with this, with your rational, logical mind. Okay. The conscious mind making decisions about the inputs that your subconscious mind lets through. You know this mind. It's the one that tells you that 2+2=4. The problem is this mind doesn't have all the information. The subconscious mind hasn't provided it. Therein lies the problem. What if the only reason you believe 2+2=4 is because you have been taught that by other people who also didn't have all the information? What if the truth is 2+2=5? What if 2+2 could actually equal anything? We have all been taught these things. We've been taught to dislike certain people of different races. Prejudice has been taught. We're not born with that. It's been taught. Your fears have been taught. Your limitations have been taught to you by people many times who love you because they don't want you to be hurt. So all these things have been taught. Well, guess what? You, now that you are old enough to understand the difference, you can teach yourself something different. But it's up to you what you allow to come into your mind. One of the things I tell people that I help is shut off the news. You do not need to know about 15 children who were killed and cut up in the South China Sea. You don't need to know this information. These terrible things, seemingly terrible, and that seems pretty terrible, have been happening since the beginning of time. It's just that we didn't have a CNN headline news telling us about these things 24 hours a day. Have you ever thought about how wonderful the world would be if they put on the news 24 hours a day? The wonderful, magnificent things, the loving things that people do for each other every day in the world. The people who are rich, who are helping provide clean water for many people in Africa and other parts of the world. So many people in the world don't even have clean water to drink or food to eat. Every day people die of starvation. And every day there are people out there who have a lot of money. Not all rich people are evil. That's what some people want you to think. Because when they make a mistake or they screw up or they get caught drinking and driving, it's all over the news. But they don't put on the news that these people for years have been providing money to help people who are less fortunate, to provide food, clothing, and water to people in the world who otherwise would die without it. That doesn't make the news. You have to look for that. You have to look for the silver lining in the dark cloud. So the news would have us think that the world is nothing but a dark cloud. Occasionally, you may see a story of hope, a story of love, a story of compassion, but that doesn't sell. But that's what we need to focus on. You need to focus on that, and I do too, to bring more of that into our world. Whatever you focus on in life grows. If you focus on all the terrible things happening in the world, guess what? Terrible things will begin to happen in your world. You will draw those occurrences, these situations, these problems into your life. Always focus on the solution. When you run into a problem, what you think is a problem, look at it as a challenge, and then immediately think of what the solution might be. Take your focus off of the problem. It's like Daniel in the lion's den. Did he look at the lions? No, he didn't. He turned his back upon the lions. This is a wonderful story, parable for us. You must turn your back on the lions, turn your back on the problem, and face and look toward the solution. In his case, his solution was God, his higher self, what he believed that would save him. Whatever your savior might be in this situation, maybe you're broke, they're going to take your house, they're foreclosing on it, your savior would be money. But what happens is we focus on the problem, we focus on the evidence of the senses, and guess what? If we focus on losing our house because we don't have money, we will continue to not have money and we will lose our house. I've lost a house in my life, so I know how that is. I've lost a lot of things in my life. But looking back in retrospect, the reason I did was because I got focused on the problem. And I know it's difficult. It's hard when you have physical pain, when you have physical ailments, it's really hard not to focus on the pain and the problems. I remember when I broke my shoulder. Could I think of anything but the pain? No, I couldn't, not immediately. So immediately things are going to upset you. They are going to be almost impossible to remove your focus from them. Okay, but that's okay, that's normal. Just like getting angry. Anger is a normal emotion. Now, if you're angry about something that happened 10 years ago, that will kill you. Resentment eats up the container it's stored in. So you have to change your focus. After the initial emotional response wears off, then you have to consciously work on changing your focus towards the solution. And as you do that, the solution will grow. That doesn't mean the problem is not going to enter your mind occasionally. That's a normal thing. But it's like they say, a lot of trains pass through the station, but I don't have to get on every one. I don't have to get on that train of thought about the negative, about what I'm afraid of. Faith is a magnet. It draws faith and belief, however you want to look at it. As I say, I'm not a religious man. Faith is a magnet, or belief is a magnet. Whatever you believe is going to be drawn into your life. Whatever you believe with conviction, you will draw that into your life. If you believe you're going to be a great success, and you really believe it, then you will take action on those thoughts. You will be given intuitive nudges to take certain actions. And if you don't let fear stop you, because fear stands between you and everything you desire, you will achieve your desire, your goal, your vision, your purpose. But you have to be, I won't say fearless because we all have fear. You have to confront your fear and walk through it to get to the other side where lies your success, whatever that means to you, whatever success entails to you, whatever you want to be, have, or do, you can do it. All right? That's all I got time for today. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to my new subscribers, and I will see you tomorrow.